హైదరాబాద్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ ప్రధాన కార్యదర్శి రమేష్ వరికుప్పల గారు ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి హాజరైన ఢిల్లీ, ముంబై, కోల్కతా, చండీగఢ్, అగర్తల, గౌహతి and Indore, state Indore, Praveen, very active president, Indore ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ అధ్యక్షులకు, కార్యదర్శులకు స్వాగతం పలుకుతా ఉన్నాను. ఈ వేదికగా 2 రోజుల పాటు యూనిటీ ఇన్ మీడియా, డెమోక్రసీ అండ్ ప్రజల స్వేచ్ఛ, మీడియా స్వేచ్ఛ మీద కూలంకషంగా చర్చలు జరగబోతున్నాయి. అనంతరము హైదరాబాద్ డిక్లరేషన్ పేరుతో ఒక గొప్ప డిక్లరేషన్ రాబోతూ ఉంది. రేపు సాయంత్రానికి ఈ చారిత్రక ఘట్టానికి హైదరాబాద్ వేదిక కావడం, ఈరోజు ఇంత అధిరత మహారాజులు అందరూ కూడా హైదరాబాద్ రావడం సంతోషకర పరిణామం. ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పాలుపంచుకున్న హైదరాబాద్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ మాజీ అధ్యక్ష కార్యదర్శులు, అదేవిధంగా హైదరాబాద్ కేంద్రంగా పనిచేస్తున్న ఎడిటర్స్ అందరికీ కూడా స్వాగతం పలుకుతూ ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని కొనసాగించవలసిందిగా నేను కోరుతా ఉన్నాను. స్వప్న గారు.
Thank you very much, Vijay Kumar ji. I now invite Gautam Lahiri ji, President of the Federation of Press Clubs of India, to please come forward to give an introductory address explaining the purpose of this conclave.
Good morning to all of you. Shubh Prabhav. At the outset, I must congratulate Hyderabad Press Club for organizing the grand launch of Federation of Press Clubs. It is the first time an institution has been built, and it will be in the media history. The name of Hyderabad Press Club will be written in golden letters, that they have actually hosted this forming of an institution. Let me start briefly welcoming the Honorable Deputy CM of Telangana State. We are grateful that he has come on this auspicious occasion. There are many galaxy of leaders here, like Mr. N. Ram, who itself is an institution, no need of any introduction. Then Anant Nath, former President of Editors Guild of India, who are always supportive to the journey of Press Club of India in the quest for media freedom. And also, I would like to say the chairman of Media Academy of Telangana State, Mr. Srinivas ji, and he always was supportive of Press Club of India's initiative. No need to say anything about the present incumbent president of Press Club of India. It's the first time that women has been a president, has been elected in the Press Club of India's journey. This journey started in 1958 with the blessings of first Prime Minister of the country, Jawaharlal Nehru ji. And I must acknowledge to Vijay ji. I have no word to say. Well, cannot make it small by thanking him for organizing this. Also the Secretary of the Press Club and his team, he has given us wonderful support. And all of the colleagues who have come all over India here. So all credit goes to him, definitely, I must acknowledge. The journey of this Federation of Press Club actually started, the idea was born in 2016. So it became a decades, now it has become an institution. The idea floated by my predecessor, former Secretary General of the Press Club of India, Mr. Nadim Kazmi, and one of the veteran journalists, Mr. Nadim, had come all the way from Bihar. And so after this, we started this when in my last term of the presidency of the Press Club of India, that we decided to make it a serious move to make a kind of an unite all the clubs of the country who are democratically elected and who believes in the Article 19(1)(a) of the Indian Constitution. That's our ideology. We don't have any other ideology, only the freedom of expression as inside is a constitution is our ideology. So in that journey, first we have requested 7 other clubs other than Press Club of India Before that, Press Club of India Managing Committee has taken a resolution that yes, Press Club of India will take an initiative to form a federation of the press clubs, uniting all the press clubs of the country. And I am thankful to my incumbent next successor, Sangeeta Boruaji and her team. They endorsed this move so that we can form, we are here today in the grand launch of the Federation of Press Clubs. So credit goes to the present managing committee of the Press Club of India too. And also this, then we invited, because what I found, we were talking to some legal experts and other people, how to form this body and make it an institution. So minimum requirement was for 8 press clubs should come together. So that's why initially we started with the 8 press clubs. All of you now know that Press Club of India and Calcutta Press Club, Mumbai Press Club, Chandigarh Press Club, Agartala Press Club, Guwahati Press Club, they have decided and come together, and they decided, yes, we will go forward, go with the formation of the federation. That meeting was held in the month of November last year. After that, there was almost took 3 to 4 months to formalize it, but get the legal permission from the Society of Registration Act. After that, we had our meeting in the Press Club of India premises, where all these press club representative presidents, as their managing committee recommends their representative. So they came together and we decided, we have invited all our predecessors, those who were in the former president, former secretary general of the press club. So we had a great meeting, grand meeting there. There we decided to announce the formation of the press club. But in that meeting, all the 6 clubs were physically, 7 clubs physically present. Only the Mumbai Press Club joined online. There's on video. He came on video, the then president of Mumbai Press Club. So then Bijayji, the Hyderabad Press Club, he said, you should give us a chance to grand launch of this federation, to the people of this country can know that yes, there is a new organization has been formed for uniting the journalists of the country. That's why Bijayji gave us the proposal. We unanimously decided, and we also prepared a memorandum of understanding, memorandum of associations, under which the federation will work. They have a constitution, you can call it a constitution. And I must recognize here, we have appointed a full-time chief executive officer. He's a press club member, Vivek Mukherjee. I think whatever he has done cannot be done by, I didn't find anyone in our club who can take the trouble for creating all these kind of, all this work, legal work, and the paperwork. It's a voluminous work, if one can see that what kind of job he has done. Still today he is doing this. We are glad that he is here also. And I am grateful to all the press clubs, like Mumbai press clubs. Now the newly elected body secretary, Mr. Anil Singh, is here. And Calcutta Press Club, Snehashi Sood, he is also here. Agartala Press Club President Pranab Sarkar, Chandigarh Press Club President Mr. Saurabh Duggal, who happens to be the Secretary General of the Federation. We have decided unanimously in that meeting that Press Club of India will nominate the President and the Treasurer. And also an Assistant Secretary post, which is Sangeeta Borua. She is the Assistant Secretary of the Federation. Secretary General would be from Chandigarh, and all other clubs will have the Vice Presidents. So after today, we will have our meeting and we will enlarge and appeal to other democratically elected press clubs to come and join with us. So I am told that Chennai Press Club has come after 24 years. They have an election. We congratulate them for holding a free and fair election. And so I will be glad that if they join today itself in our Federation Governing Council meeting, there will be a second meeting in Press Club Hyderabad. So there we can announce that. Also other clubs are interested for joining. I am told that Northeastern clubs and the Thiruvananthapuram Press Club, then Bangalore Press Club, they have in principle, they have agreed to join. So later on we will have a time when we will decide and expand this body. Just as shortly, I would say that not actually we have planning to what our motto, what we will do. Basically, the first thing and first objective is to unite the media fraternity. There is we acknowledge there is no unification of media fraternity in this country. So that's a need of the hour, and we are thankful that Mr. Ram is helping us for guiding us to achieve our objective. Also, we will do how the media freedom should be in the country, how it should be practiced. So I am not going into details because we will have a discussion among ourselves, then we will declare our policy that's called a Hyderabad Declaration, where the protection of journalists, how the journalists will be protected, and when the journalists are being attacked, how the federation can take up the issues with all sorts of help, like legal help and other help also. So that's our idea, and we will create a kind of an institution so that we can build up the new generation of media fraternity, those who will be enlightened with the idea of the Federation of India and for all the media freedom itself. So which is definitely nobody can deny that it is under threat now. So that's our motto. I will not take much time. Rather, you will all are waiting to hear other luminaries. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. Once again, I must congratulate Hyderabad Press Club for hosting us and giving us a beautiful stay in the beautiful city of Pearls, where gem of journalists are uniting together. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Gautam ji, khoob bhalo. Thank you very much. While we have a lot of gems on stage, we also acknowledge the gems sitting in the audience. We have senior media fraternity, Bandar Srinivas Rao garu, Srinivas Reddy garu, Amar Devulpalli garu, and we also have Mohan Guruswami garu, I Venkat garu, Tarun garu. Request you all to please come forward and occupy the seats in front, sir. Dayachesi camera mitrulandaru, I request you all to make space for our senior media fraternity to come forward and sit. Lakshmi garu kuda unnaru akkada venakala. So before we proceed to listen to our distinguished guests, we will now have the unveiling of the Federation logo by the Honorable Deputy CM. We also would like the distinguished guests N. Ram Garu, Anantnath Garu, and the other governing council members of the Federation of Press Club to join in this unveiling of this Federation logo. దయచేసి అందరూ కలిసి లోగో ఆవిష్కరణకు సిద్ధం అవ్వాలని కోరుతున్నాం. అనంతరం విశిష్ట అతిథుల మాటలు వినబోతున్నాం మనం. అలాగే ముఖ్య అతిథి గారి సందేశం కూడా వినడానికి అందరూ ఆతృతగా ఎదురు చూస్తున్నారు. రిక్వెస్ట్ యు ఆల్ టు ప్లీజ్ స్టెప్ ఫార్వర్డ్. కెన్ వి మేక్ స్పేస్ ప్లీజ్? Request the entire Press Club of Hyderabad Federation. Request the Federation governing members to come forward, please. Anantaram audio visual presentation undabotondi. Dayachesi request you all to sit back. We will have an audio visual presentation after the unveiling of the logo.
Chandigarh Press Club, Mumbai Press Club, Agartala, Indore, and Delhi Press Club. We are requesting to attend, come on to the dais. Other press clubs also. Mr. Sneha Susur, Kolkata Press Club, Chennai Press Club, Nelson.
ఫెడరేషన్ గవర్నింగ్ బాడీ సభ్యులు మాత్రమే వేదికపైకి రావాలని కోరుతున్నాం. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to unveil the logo of the Federation of Press Clubs of India. For the first time, such a federation has been formed, and this is an inaugural event we are all witnessing, a historic moment for all journalists and media fraternity. A bigger round of applause, please. ఏవీ టీం దయచేసి కొంచెం మంగళకరమైన ధ్వని ఉన్న పాట వేయండి. Thank you very much. Respected guests, request you all to please be seated. Can we have the team move the logo please so that we may watch the audio visual. Audio visual కోసం సిద్ధం అవ్వాలండి. దయచేసి ఆడియో విజువల్ని ట్యూన్ చేసి పెట్టుకోండి డైరెక్ట్గా. I request our distinguished guests to please turn towards the screen on stage so that we may all watch the unveiling of the audio visual now.
Of the matter that the press clubs are the most visible and vibrant organizations of the media persons in various parts of the country.
And finally it's happening. अभी शुरुआत में 8 प्रेस क्लब को मिला के फेडरेशन ऑफ प्रेस क्लब्स ऑफ इंडिया बनाया गया. जर्नलिस्ट के साथ जिस तरह की घटनाएं देश भर में होती हैं उसके खिलाफ भी आवाज उठाएं. और इसका मकसद यही है कि सारे जर्नलिस्ट मिलकर एक साथ अपनी फर्टिलिटी के लिए काम करें और देश की मजबूती के लिए, लोकतंत्र के लिए काम करें.
মতন প্রান্তিক রাজ্যে এই প্রেস ক্লাব ফেডারেশন অত্যন্ত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ এই কারণে যে দেখা গেছে বিভিন্ন সময় সাংবাদিকদের অনেক সমস্যার মধ্যে পড়তে হয়.
लेकिन वही पत्थर यदि हम संगठित मधुमक्खियों के छत्ते पर फेंकेंगे तो हमारी हालत बुरी हो जाएगी. मैं समझता हूँ भारत में जितने सक्रिय प्रेस क्लब हैं उनका जो एक महासंघ बना है, एक बड़ा परिवार बना है, फेडरेशन ऑफ प्रेस क्लब के महासंघ के गठन पर सभी साथियों को बहुत बहुत बधाई.
ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ హైదరాబాద్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో ఈ నెల 22-23 తేదీలలో ఫెడరేషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో మీడియా కాన్క్లేవ్ నిర్వహించబోతున్నాం. దానికి దేశవ్యాప్తంగా ఉన్న అనేక ప్రెస్ క్లబ్లు హైదరాబాద్ ఇప్పటికీ వచ్చేశాయి. ప్రెస్ క్లబ్ ఫెడరేషన్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో మీడియా విశ్వసనీయత, జర్నలిస్ట్ రక్షణ మీద మన అనేక సింపోజియం నిర్వహించబోతున్నాం.
In the current scenario, where there has been a continuous attempts to suppress the free speech and to control media, the role of the press clubs become even more important. Federation of the press clubs have been formed, and I am very much confident that Federation is going to play a role in safeguarding the free speech. I also congratulate Hyderabad Press Club for organizing the launch event of the Federation of Press Club, Free Speech, Free Press.
The Federation of Press Clubs, to my mind, is the need of the hour. Considering the continuous damage that we are seeing being done to the institution of journalism in India, the world's largest democracy, that the elected press clubs of this country unite as a cohort to not just to protect the country and its democracy, but also the institution of journalism.
Of the matter.
It's truly an inspiring moment. I request our distinguished guests to please be seated. I now invite Sangeeta Barua Pisharti to address the audience, President of the Press Club of India, to please come forward and say a few words. Thank you.
To all dignitaries on the stage, fellow journalists, my seniors in the profession present here, namaskar, good morning, and greetings from the Press Club of India, New Delhi. Today indeed is an important day for the elected press clubs of the country. Finally, we have a federation which would provide the journalist clubs a much needed platform to work like a cohort, as I said a little earlier. So congratulations to all of us. The federation, as Gautam Das said, is truly the need of the hour. It is born at a time when random arrests of journalists have become the norm. Slapping of flimsy cases against reporters and independent media houses have become common. We all know why it's done. It's done only to ensure that the process is the punishment. Tools like RTI, which are used by journalists like me to procure official information from the government to do public interest journalism, have been diluted in the name of protecting privacy. A huge brigade of laptop media, unfortunately, has been carefully crafted just to serve the government of the day and their corporate masters, of course. So, which is a mockery in a democracy where every institution, including that of journalism, is designed to serve the citizens first. On any given day, this brigade, to my mind, works somewhat like internet bots on social media platforms that we see, copying the same narrative handed down to them by their handlers as if they have mortgaged their brains just to earn high salaries. That's all. The Federation has come at a time when truth in this country is a casualty. People respected journalism, read newspapers, listened to the radio, watched television news just to get to the truth, isn't it? So we journalists were actually the bearers of the truth to the society. To my mind, it was the sole reason the profession of journalism was considered a noble one. However, in the last few years, the very purpose of supporting journalism and journalists by common citizens has received a severe dent. Recently, we saw during the students' protest at Jantar Mantar in New Delhi, several media persons being heckled, not allowed to work by young protesters. They accused them of representing the lapdog media of the government of the day, not pursuing public interest journalism. I don't support violence against anyone personally. Press Club of India as an institution has condemned such actions. We had issued a press release condemning it. But that action from the citizenry actually held up the huge trust deficit of media among common people in the country. So going forward, the Federation as the representative force of India's elected press clubs will have to delve into these fundamental questions, staring at the institution of journalism in India today, including questions like why in the world's largest democracy we have accepted facts like the Prime Minister of the country, who is elected by the people, have failed to even address a press conference of unscripted questions. It may sound unimportant to me, to all of you, to any of us, but therein also lies the hidden fact that addressing a press conference and readiness of an elected leader to take up questions from journalists also means he thinks he is accountable to the people of this country, not a god. After all, journalists' job is to ask questions to the government of the day on behalf of the people. In a democracy, we, including those in power, are all supposed to work for the people. We journalists are supposed to work for the people. I also would like to take this opportunity to highlight that we should address the need for a proper media policy in this country, which should ensure that the fourth pillar of democracy remains in good health. I hope the Federation would give the necessary push, Dada, to the media bill, which has already been put together by a set of competent senior journalists at the behest of the Press Club of India, when the current Federation President, Gautam Lahiri, was the Press Club of India President. A lot of research has got into that work to include all the best examples of good practices from across the globe. Through the Federation, we should try and generate a countrywide demand from all stakeholders, journalists and common citizens alike, to bring such a bill whereby journalism can function without the fear of powers be. If we have to protect journalism, there is no doubt in my mind that we would need to address the issue of cross ownership and multi-channel control models, which has become a plague in this country. Before I end, I would like to express my deepest thanks to the Hyderabad Press Club for organizing the inaugural event of the Federation of Press Clubs. I think Vijay and the entire managing committee members, this is truly impressive and a great start. Thank you. Sorry, I think I didn't yours.
Thank you very much, Sangeeta ji, and hats off to you for bringing up some really practical, real-time issues instead of just speaking about idealistic values. I think what Sangeeta ji mentioned is definitely the need of the hour. I now invite Mr. Anantnath ji to address the audience. Anantnath ji needs no introduction. He's a former president of the Editors Guild, and he's the editor of Caravan magazine. Welcome, sir.
Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, dignitaries on the stage, Ram sir, Srinivas sir, Vijay ji, Sangeeta, Gautam da, Ramesh ji. Again, I can't underscore the momentousness of this occasion. Coming together of 8 press clubs, Gautam da said that this was an idea that was floated in 2016. I'm just referring to the old adage, nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. I wish that the idea had come about 12 years ago, and we wish that this idea had fructified soon enough, given the overall environment we are operating within. In fact, one could say that there has always been a need. We should not be confined to what is happening in the last 10 years. Media has been under attack. Media has always had a need to defend itself for long term, for decades. But more so in the last decade or so, and especially so in the post-COVID era, where the environment, the legal environment, the government's own attitude towards press freedom has taken a far greater and far more sinister dip, and therefore it is all the more important, and a great congratulations to everybody involved for coming together to form this federation. Sangeeta talked about the overall environment we are operating in. I'm just going to add a few more, facets to it. The whole legal system, the way it is shaped up in post-COVID era, starting from the IT rules that were floated, which have allowed government unilateral powers to take down content. They've put together a 3-tiered structure, so-called regulatory structure, which has 2 layers of self-regulation, but the final 3rd layer being government-mandated, a government-compromised ministerial group, which has the sole authority to decide what is problematic. Followed by the sinister fact-checking unit, where the government tried to give itself the sole authority to determine what is fake, false, misleading about its own affairs. So you're the victim and the judge in your own affairs. Fortunately, that was put aside by the Bombay High Court. The Privacy Act, which is in the garb of a noble cause of protecting private citizens' privacy, has now been used to dilute RTI, because most government officers, most government functions have been kept out of the purview of RTI. And at the same time, there is no journalistic exemption, which was there in the previous bills that were floated, but the final act had no clause of journalistic exemption, leaving a big gray area that is journalistic work, which invariably deals with private information of public officials. Whether you're in politics, you're in corporate affairs, you're in sports, as a journalist, we are meant to deal with your private information as well, from a point of view of public inquiry. There's a gray area whether journalists will come under Privacy Act and Privacy Board and accountable to whatever rules that the Privacy Act has sort of put in together. There was a broadcast bill that has fortunately been put away. There's a new Sahyog portal that's been put together, which is probably one of the most ingenious and sinister frameworks that has been put together by this government in the last 1 year, where powers to take down content has been decentralized across states and given to senior police officers to determine what problematic and order takedown. And that window of takedown was from 2 or 3 days, has now been brought to within 3 hours. So something which is held as natural justice, where somebody's content that has been taken down has to be first given a notice and an opportunity to be heard, has been taken away. Your content is first taken down, and then you approach the courts or whichever forum it is, and we all know how long it takes. One of Caravan articles was taken out 2 years ago. It's been 2 years. There's not been even substantive arguments yet, and the government has been able to sort of get away, and Caravan is one of them. Many other instances are there where articles, and not just articles, tweets, Facebook posts have been taken down. The criminal laws, the new criminal laws that were put together, ostensibly to replace the colonial laws. The wording of these new criminal laws, uplift the powers that were given by the so-called colonial laws. They were far more respectful when we look at the BNS, how sedition, which was set in abeyance by the Supreme Court, has been reintroduced as treason. The wording of what is treasonous has been expanded, made more vague. False information and misleading information has been criminalized. Now, what is false information? What is misleading information? Who will determine? Obviously, a police officer will determine. Obviously, an SHO will determine. You can file a complaint, a government act, state agent can sort of find a non-state agent to file a complaint, and suddenly that complaint gets into an FIR under what is called false information, and then the process starts. As again Sangeeta said, process becomes a punishment, which is far more difficult for smaller journalists, which is far more difficult for independent media organizations, and equally for large organizations. Once the process is started, you become prisoner to that. So all these things, the IPC provisions which have been expanded into BNS, the regulatory environment itself has become very intrusive. Not to mention the way investigative agencies, IT, ED, CBI are used. When a simple act of reporting on a rape case is turned into an unlawful and a terrorist activity. And that's Siddiqappan is one case, but there are multiple such cases in smaller towns. I was just looking at the list. Journalists like Sujit Sarkar in Assam, who's beaten up by 20 people, by MLA goons. Journalist Vijay Pradhan in Odisha was tied up and dragged through street for 2 hours because he exposed the work of NHR, public work. Sneha Barve from Maharashtra was beaten up because he was reporting on how riverbed construction was been illegally done. These and so many cases which happening at local level, and national media often doesn't even get to know about it. According to CPJ and GIJN, about 27 journalists have been killed in India since 1992. These are not isolated incidents. When one such journalist is beaten up, murdered, or put in jail, it's an attack against entire press. And therefore, a body like Federation, where not just 8, but I'm sure dozens of press clubs will eventually come together, become eye and ear for the fraternity at large, that even the smallest attack on any journalist, on an independent media organization gets a national level amplification, so that the entire fraternity comes together to resist that, to ensure that the system doesn't become accustomed to misusing the powers which has been so liberally given. Gautam Da talked about 19(1)A is our focus. And the focus should also be how to blunt 19(1)B. The restrictions that have been placed in freedom of speech and which are the genesis, all those vague restrictions which have found space in all the laws. How do we blunt the use of those restrictions, and at least the liberal and the almost indiscriminate use of those restrictions are being allowed in all these laws? That has to be checked. It's a constitutional provision. It's not easy, but we have to come together to ensure that all those restrictions which have found place in IT laws, civil laws, criminal laws need to be checked. And I know the Federation has put together a big memorandum for itself. I thought I'll just give a few areas where the Federation needs to sort of, beyond the obvious one of making sure that local becomes national. Any local attack gets national significance. But the Federation should come together, and I'm sure it will come together, to work on 3 or 4 issues which are very important to sort of blunt the attack of the current establishment at least, and also non-government establishments as and when the local power centers attack any entity of press. Often I said about statements, that what do statements do? Statements is a very important message of solidarity, that the person under attack is being looked after. And if all press clubs come together and issue statement, it creates an amplification mechanism. Those statements find space in larger media, and all of you will be members of your local organizations. The impact of that amplification cannot be underscored. Representations to governments, we've had some success. In the case of broadcast bill, in fact, press club organized a press conference. I was part of that. Digipub was part of that. Ravish Kumar was the speaker, and various organizations, Guild, Press Club, multiple other organizations made representations. Thankfully, the broadcast bill was taken back. One success, at least, where we achieved some. We were able to sort of push back on the government. Even in the Privacy Act, thanks to multiple representations made by Press Club and various other press bodies, at least the MeitY secretary called for a meeting. And at least he gave us verbal assurances that journalists will not be under the purview of Privacy Act. We wanted more, but at least we got that much. Let's not undermine what we got. Let's not undermine the fact that the MeitY secretary had to force because multiple press bodies came together. Judicial action. Once the law is passed, up until the law is being contemplated, we have representations, but once the law is passed, we have no other option but to go to the court. The more petitions are filed, the more importance that the court will give, because then it doesn't become, it gets elevated from a single entity's interest to an industry-wise interest. The fact-checking unit is a case where multiple organizations, Guild, I think it was Magazine Association and various other organizations put together a petition, and finally the Bombay High Court held it unconstitutional. There's an appeal been filed in the Supreme Court. We have to challenge that. Sedition was put under abeyance. Again, multiple organizations had filed petitions. Unfortunately, sedition has found a place against under treason. The Sahyog portal is one such example, and the Privacy Act is another example where I hope the press clubs and the Federation takes a lead in challenging it judicially. Yesterday, Ram sir and all of us were talking about lawyers and the need for making a network of lawyers who are willing to work with journalists. I think the number of lawyers who are out there who feel for the cause is a lot, from senior to younger lawyers. At the Guild, we've had great help from lawyers like Shri Kapil Sibal, Sham Diwan, multiple other lawyers who have fought cases for us pro bono. And similar lawyers are there in every high court, in every major court of the country. What is required with the Federation, if multiple press clubs are a member of this network, to create a list of such lawyers which can be roped in, who will work for us, who will not sometimes work for institutional issues, but also if an independent journalist needs help, who doesn't have the resources to hire a lawyer, if the press clubs, if the Federation can put them in touch with well-meaning lawyers, that would be a great help, because who will otherwise, willing to adhere to that code? So tens of thousands of such organizations to be under one body will be just logistically not possible. So create a mechanism, create a dialogue where every press club, regional press club, can sort of maybe become an anchor for a local, regional regulatory body. Each of which is following the same common guidelines and frameworks, including obviously powers to reprimand. But the constitution of those regulatory bodies should obviously be outside of the realm of government. And I'm sort of taking some words from Ram sir's, he'll elaborate on that, on how to make it even more self-regulatory by not having any conflict of interest. And we were talking about it, and he had, he has some ideas from the Levison report, which I'll let him sort of, talk about. But self-regulation, if that can be one of the cornerstones of this federation, I think it will do a great justice. It will be an answer to the government that don't.
Between much of the news media we must be careful in saying not all the news media, but much of the news media and substantial sections of the public. The second is a crisis of media freedom and independence. The growing vulnerability of journalists and news organizations to political, legal, administrative, economic, and other forms of coercion. I believe that press clubs have an important role to play in addressing both challenges. And if this new federation can bring press clubs across India together, across languages, across regions, across platforms, across generations, and across political differences, it can become an important institutional force for strengthening Indian journalism, restoring its vitality and influence, and defending its democratic and progressive role. We must begin with an uncomfortable truth, which has been acknowledged already. A free press cannot survive on constitutional and legal protection alone. We do have that to a large extent, although not all of us are satisfied with the constitutional and legal provisions protecting freedom of speech and expression in Article 19(1)(a) and as qualified by Article 19(2). Crucially, we require public trust, and it does appear that trust in the media and journalism has weakened. I don't want to go into the details of it. We have to look at the evidence critically. There's not enough evidence on it, but it has been widely reported, and instinctively we feel that it is true. This trend deserves our serious attention. The reasons for this erosion of trust, reported erosion of trust, are many and complex. Some originate outside journalism. Political forces everywhere, and especially those on the far right, have discovered that discrediting independent journalism can be an institution, an MOA which you have, and bylaws and rules guaranteeing good and transparent governance. It must not be a closed shop. It must hold regular elections in which members elect their office bearers in a free and clean way. And at yesterday's dinner, I think I mentioned this about the Chennai Press Club. The Chennai Press Club, before 2024, held its last elections in 1999. But when after a great deal of effort, and a guidance committee was set up, then intervened in the process, the elections were conducted by a respected retired High Court judge and a team of lawyers, with no member of the press club involved in the elections. The turnout, I think it's a world record for a press club, was 91.27% of 1,371 members. And there were 44 contestants, and Mr. V.N. Swamy, 95 years old, the oldest member of the Chennai Press Club, came all the way from Madurai to Chennai to cast his vote. I think one of our best representatives of the press club, Nelson, is here, and I think he can tell you more about it tomorrow. He has been invited by the president of the federation. So I'm very happy to report this tremendous reform that has taken place, and that's an example. You have stories. There are stories of other press clubs which have been through times of troubles and emerged or not emerged out of the trouble. So these are, I think, very important. A press club, of course, and I think I want to pay tribute to the Press Club of Hyderabad, not just because I'm here, but it has been in the forefront of on the issues that press clubs should take up from the beginning. At least from the 1980s, I'm familiar personally with this. And Delhi also, but Hyderabad has been the Press Club of Hyderabad has been a very important player in what we are witnessing today, namely press clubs worth their name, well-run and well-governed press clubs, forming a federation. I'll share more details a little later. Now, the second challenge, coercion by the authoritarian state. It will be unfair to believe or say that we have problems only with the union government, the BJP government, the Modi government. Many state governments belonging to different political parties, that's why I singled out Telangana this time, I think have also been intolerant, have also adopted coercive tactics, filed criminal cases with the police picking up journalists, trying to arrest them in this case. So we have to recognize this, and regardless of our political preferences, views, or ideological orientation, we have to come together on a principle basis whenever journalists are unjustly targeted in connection with their work. I'm not talking about personal quarrels and so on. We are talking about meticulously verified public statements on what happened. It can work with the Editors Guild, journalists' unions, digital media organizations, publishers' bodies, civil liberties organizations, and lawyers to protect freedom of expression and the rights of journalists. It can draw from a panel of lawyers, has already been mentioned by Anand, to provide urgent legal assistance to journalists in trouble in connection with their work. In this regard, let me report that my friend Karan Thapar and I have received a standing offer from one of India's brightest and best in the legal profession, Shri Kapil Sibal, senior advocate and former cabinet minister, that if a foundation is established for the legal protection of journalists.
Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, Sri Batti Vikramarka Garu, respected N. Ram, and also former Press Guild of India, President and Editor of Carbon, Mr. Nath, the Federation of Press Clubs of India, President. Is the working journalist is giving 20,000. We have a 4-time system and personality for extending this facility to the working journalists in this state. Lastly, I appeal our Deputy Chief Minister. Our friends are here expecting some positive word for our press club premises. Hope you will do a positive statement. Thank you very much.
Dhanyavad.
8 press clubs have come together to establish this federation, getting journalists from 8 different organizations to agree on the same story, Bharat. Those names themselves tells us that journalism means to him the voiceless had to be given a voice. The excluded had to be brought into the national conversation. And Ambedkar was part of a much larger Indian tradition. Lokmanya Tilak used Kesari and Maratha to challenge colonial authority and awaken political consciousness. Before them, Dadabhai Nauroji had used Rashtra Gupta, the truth teller, as an instrument of social and political reform. Sri Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Ji Al Hilal became a powerful voice against colonial rule. And papers such as Amrit Bazar Patrika and The Hindu became important voices of Indian public opinion in age when expressing that opinion could itself invite the displeasure of the colonial government. These were very different publications founded by very different people. But there was a thread connecting all of them. Journalism was not simply about producing news. I just wanted to stress on this point once again. Journalism was not just simply about producing news. It was about producing citizens. It informed people. It awakened them. It challenged authority. It gave political voice to those who had very little power of their own. These newspapers had to survive financially, of course, but their reason for existence was larger than their balance sheet. The element of commercialism was successfully integrated with the imperative of achieving an enlightened citizenry. That is an inheritance with remembering and today in this meeting also. And that idea that journalism is also about producing citizens is not merely a matter of history. We are entering the 8th, but journalism cannot become only a trade, because a newspaper is selling a product, but it is also performing public function. The danger begins when we confuse the two. A newspaper must have a market, but journalism must have a purpose. That purpose is to inform the citizen, question power, uncover what is hidden, and give space to voices that otherwise may not be heard. That was true in Dadabhai's time. That was true in Tilak's time. That was true in Ambedkar's time. That was true in Gandhi's time. That was true in many decades in this country. It remains. Most valuable position is no longer the printing press, its credibility. But we cannot defend journalism without defending journalists. Simply been forgotten. For a government prepared to listen. A good reporter is sometimes the best early warning system we have. Friends, technologies will change. Business models will change. Platforms will come and go. Governments certainly will come and go. But some things do not change. Power will always need scrutiny. Citizens will always need facts. And democracy will always need people willing to ask uncomfortable questions. So my request to this new federation is, do not merely become another organization. Become an institution. Defend journalists, defend professional standards, and defend journalism as something more than a commercial enterprise. Nearly 8 decades ago, Nehru told a cartoonist, which I have already mentioned, and again I would like to mention it again, don't spare me, Shankar. Perhaps that remains a good compact between journalism and public life. Do not spare those in power, but do not spare yourselves either. Hold us to account. Hold yourselves to your standards, and let the citizen be the beneficiary of truth. Both. Telangana has always been a land where people speak their minds. The basic trait of Telangana is to express what we feel. Plainly and without fear is part of our character and has shaped our movements, our literature, and our culture. Our government respects that tradition. Freedom of expression carries great weight in Telangana. And those of us in public life must have the confidence to hear voices that disagree with us. So when Nehru said, "Don't spare me, Shankar," we understand the spirit of those words. Speak freely, question freely, and let those in power have the courage to listen. It gives me great pleasure to formally launch the Federation of Press Clubs here in Hyderabad. And I wish this federation becomes a great success and gives a light to the freedom of expression in this country, and many more the requirements of the journalists. The federation will take care of all those things with a proper institutionalized activities.